Hello there, another Friday night. It's good to see you here on Ghana Tonight. I'm Keminni Amanor. Let's get into our top stories. Top of the news this hour, officers fallen over themselves to celebrate the appointment of IGP Christian Tete Yohuno. Tonight, we delve into what the future holds for the man with the top job in the police force. Also to come, Minority wants Vice President Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman to join parliamentary debate on the 2025 budget. The how and why, I'll tell you. Tonight, Minister of the Interior says Ghana's prisons are now drug trafficking dens. With a new prison service capo in the picture, what should be her top priorities? All that coming up tonight. Well, be a part of the action tonight as we stream on Facebook, YouTube, at TV3 Ghana, and also on X.com. You can also find us on 3news.com, where we'll be streaming. Right now, we are live on TV3. If you have comments, thoughts, or questions, use the hashtag Ghana Tonight. Next on our program tonight is Ghana Brief.
President John Dramani Mahama has urged the newly appointed Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete Yohuno, to prioritize the welfare of police officers across the country. Speaking at a ceremony to swear in the newly appointed IGP, President Mahama emphasized that a well-supported police service is crucial for effectively maintaining law and order.
Our people look to you for protection. They want to see a police service that is not only professional and disciplined, but also one that is fair and just. They want to be reassured that when they report crimes, they will receive a swift and impartial response. They want to trust that the police service will act in their best interests, free from undue influence and without discrimination.
The Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, has challenged women to work hard towards achieving the equity goal they have long sought. At a meeting with women at the Jubilee House, the Vice President stated that women must first support each other, mentor younger women, and ensure inclusion for a systematic change.
We must avoid, if not completely abhor, condescension, favoritism, haughtiness. Equity must make room and recognize every talent.
In a bold step to addressing the problem of invalid and rejected ballots in Africa, the Association of African Election Authorities is considering e-voting and artificial intelligence for future elections. Chairperson of the Electoral Commission and President of the Executive Committee of the Association, Jane Mensah, explained that it is a blow to Africa's democracy if the continent still records high incidence of rejected ballots.
I'm not sure that advanced democracies, this is an issue that would engage them at all. And so it's important for us as EMBs to work to ensure that every vote counts. It's not enough just to issue papers, ballot papers to citizens who come to the polls, but it's important that we educate the citizens and do everything within our power to ensure that every vote counts and every vote matters.
Ghana's Interior Minister Muntaka Mohamed Mubarak has sounded the alarm on the country's prisons, which have become hotspots for drug trafficking. This disturbing trend is undermining efforts to combat the menace. In a call to action, the minister urged Christian and Muslim leaders in Accra to join forces with the government to tackle drug abuse in their communities.
Our number in the prison, in proportional terms, is far higher than our population, the general population. It tells you that there's a big problem in our community. You see people keep gun in their homes and their children pick it in play and they kill each other. because they don't even know how to use them. They don't even know how to manage the gun. So for you to receive gun license, I'm going to insist that you have to go through training.
Relatives of those who died in the June 8, 2023 police killing at Akwasa Hills in the Gas South municipality of the Greater Accra region are appealing to the IGP Christian Tete Yohunu to investigate the incident and bring the matter to a conclusion. Nearly 2 years after the incident, the probe into the matter has yet to be concluded.
2023, robbers.
8 June 2023 was a very sad day for me. The former IGP, Dr. Dampare, announced that the victims were robbers, and he, together with Grace Akrofi, ordered the killing. Since that day till now, he has not been able to confirm who told him my children were robbers. They offered me money for the funeral, and I refused it. I plead with the new IGP to help me.
Gonna brief there for you. Let's get into some news hot off the press this hour. Now, a member of the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral, Victor Kusi Boateng, alias Kwabena Edujemfi, is reportedly in the custody of the National Investigations Bureau as part of an ongoing investigation. It is, however, unclear whether this investigation is in respect of allegations of multiple identities leveled against him by North Tongo MP, now Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, or the National Cathedral project scandal. That's what we're just hearing, that the Reverend Kusi Boateng, who was part of the National Cathedral project, is in custody of National Investigation Bureau, the NIB. And it's unclear his whereabouts at the moment, if he's still in custody, whether he's been released. But at the time of coming on air, this is the story that we're hearing coming into us here at TV3, that he is in the custody of NIB. Again, it's unclear if this is in relation to the multiple identity issue that was, that was leveled against him, looked into by Shraj. Shraj had, its opinion on the matter. It's unclear if that's what's, brought up this detention, so to speak, or it is in the general, it's as a result of the general situation surrounding the National Cathedral project. Remember, there have been concerns about misuse of funds around the project as well. He's a key member of the team. We do not know at this time. In the meantime, tonight, jubilation among some police officers as new Inspector General of Police reports to work on day one. IGP Christian Tete Yohunu was welcomed. Christian Tete Yohunu was welcomed by a swarm of officers, uniformed and ununiformed alike, on his way out of the police headquarters here in Accra. Take a look. Now, what you've just seen was after President John Dramani Mahama urged the newly appointed IGP to prioritize the welfare of police officers across the country. Take a listen to the president after he swore in IGP Christian Tete Yohunu.
Ghanaians have high expectations of the police service, and rightly so. Our people look to you for protection. They want to see a police service that is not only professional and disciplined, but also one that is fair and just. They want to be reassured that when they report crimes, they will receive a swift and impartial response. They want to trust that the police service will act in their best interests, free from undue influence and without discrimination. To achieve this, IGP, your leadership must be rooted in integrity, discipline, and innovation.
Now, that was President John Dramani Mahama. I want us to watch again that moment when the officers fell over themselves in jubilation. Look. Well, that away also signifies the end of an era, that era of former IGP George Ekufu Dampare. It's unclear what's happening, but we know that he's responded to his exit as IGP, where he thanks the nation for the opportunity to serve it. But let's hear from the newly installed IGP, Christian Tete Yohunu, and his intention to reset the police service.
The guiding principles will include discipline and respect for seniority within the hierarchy structure of the service. So I assure you, Your Excellency, that professionalism, transparency, accountability, and fairness shall underpin my administration and focus on renewing attitudes and performance, thereby positioning the service to meet the aspirations of our people and foster peace and security in our country.
Let's now have a chat on the future of the police service and, by extension, security in this country. Richard Kumado is a security analyst, is joining us for that chat. Richard, I appreciate your time this evening, but first things first, let's look at the jubilation and the way for the now former IGP George Ekufu Dampare, and the jubilation to welcome, the new IGP Christian Tete Yohunu. What does that tell you?
Now, just after the president spoke to the IGP Yohunu and admonishing him of being a professional police officer and to raise a police officer that would be admirable by everybody, where he talks about discipline and he encouraged them to put up a professional attitude. What we saw afterwards was very awful. These are law enforcement agencies, and we should be seen to be promoting a good leadership. And we should be seen also should be promoting, common sense over nonsense. And what happened there, where you see officers throwing money on a newly appointed an IGP, I think it's absolutely nonsense. It's unprofessional, and it should not be acceptable. We should condemn it. This is an IGP that just came from the office of the president, where he has been admonished to be of good behavior and produce men and women that will work in the interest of the state. Then he got to his office, and you have this large number of people who have become lawless unto themselves. And I was a bit worried. I think at all times, as law enforcement officers, we should be seen to be prioritizing discipline. We should be seen to be prioritizing professionalism. And what I saw did not defeat any of them at all.
But, you know, someone will explain that to mean deep-seated issues within the police service, and the officers are just happy that those deep-seated issues may have come to an end with the beginning of the Christian Tete Yohono IGP-ship.
I agree there are structural issues within the Ghana Police Service. It's not just the Ghana Police Service. Today, immigration has been given a new boss, fire service and prison. The issues of promotion, which is one of the cardinal sins of Dampare. If you go to the BNI, there are issues where juniors were promoted over seniors, where the place has been packed with people who have no business being there. If you go to the immigration, it's a similar problem. If you go to the Ghana Armed Forces, it's a time bomb we are sitting on. And so it's not peculiar to the Ghana Police Service. If Dampare as an IGP took some decisions that did not sound well with them, it is reasonable that people must take him on. But to behave in the manner they did, I think is unlawful, it is distasteful, it is disgraceful, and they don't seem to be prioritizing common sense over nonsense. Yohono has been with the police for many years. I have seen IGP Kwe, I have seen IGP Alansa, I have seen Kudalov, I have seen Apietu, I have seen Gwedu, I have seen Dampare. If you look at the police service we have, there are cardinal structure problems. Promotions is one of them. Welfare is one of them. And I wasn't surprised the words the president administered the IGP with. So to put up that behavior to say somebody is a devil and some other people are angels, I think they are dragging the name of the police into disrepute. And my fear is that it may come back to haunt them in no time.
I see. And we'll come back to some of those issues, but I want us to get snippets of what the IGP has said today. If we could just take a look at that briefly. We know that in the last few hours of today, the IGP released that statement in which he thanked the nation for the opportunity to serve it. But he also says that he's overwhelmed by the considerable show of love and support you know, across the country and the rest of the world during his time here, but he's particularly grateful for the opportunity to serve the service for the past 35 years, rising in rank from a general constable to the Inspector General of Police. He goes on to say that being given the rank of Inspector General of Police, the highest rank attainable for any police officer, was an incredible opportunity to serve. And he appreciates religious and traditional leaders for their prayers, wisdom, and good counsel at all times. Finally, he also talks about reaffirming his continuous commitment to Ghana and his willingness to serve the nation that he loves. So that's the now former IGP, Dr. George Ekufu Dampare. When you read that letter he wrote to the nation, so to speak, what do you glean from it? Is that a happy man?
No, it's the prerogative of the president to appoint an IGP. There's this thing we call National Security Council institutions, which includes the Attorney General, the Governor for Bank of Ghana, and to some extent, Minister of Communication, because of Cyber Security Authority issues, and to some extent, the Ghana Revenue Authority boss. And all these people are the preview of the president. The president had the power to appoint them, and he who hires, fires. So I don't think the president has done anything wrong. From the day Dampare was appointed as the IGP, he knows that it was an honor done him. And so if you have Yohono who has few years to go, and was given an IGP position, the same honor done Dampare, it is the same honor given to Yohonu, who is actually overqualified and has what it takes to do the job. Yohonu is a happy man. His family is happy. All of us are happy for him that he had the honor to serve his country at the highest level as a police officer. That alone is even a motivation for the junior officer serving. Dampare, on the other hand, has few years ahead of him, and that is a decision he was come to personally and that of government. I don't think anybody has done him any harm by taking the position away from him as an IGP. Because Keminni, if you remember, even before Dampare's name came up, Yohanu's name was all over the place, and he was overlooked, and Dampare was picked. Dampare came in when Apietu had an issue. They threw him off the window. The Buebu guy came in. There was instability in front of the IGP ship pen. Dampare stabilized that place, brought in a leadership that is accessibility to the populace. He has his own cabinet since we call it. But hey, you can't take that away from them. They have their own challenges, which is peculiar of becoming an IGP. And find time and speak to the former IGPs, and you will realize that this cabinet structure problem I'm talking about ran through and has affected almost all our IGPs. So nobody has done Dampare any harm. It is the prerogative of the president. The president agreed that he must give up the position to Yohonu. If Dampare has been sacked or has been dismissed, then the reasons for his dismissal or being sacked would have become a contestable issue at the court. But it is an honor and it is the prerogative of the president. And that is a constitutional order the president to vote. And we should leave it that way. Let's thank Dampare just like he's thanking the public. And let's thank Yohonu and encourage him to continue to be the best person we have always known him to be. And let's thank the president that he exercised a constitutional right to have. And let Ghana be the winner. So we should stop this thing about demonizing one another person.
Very well.
Creating the impression that somebody is a devil and somebody is an angel. I think that
but Richard, we haven't done that here yet. And I don't think we'll ever do that, where we demonize one person.
No, what you saw at the police head office is a signal to that, not...
Yeah, and that is where I'm going, because we need to look at the future of the now installed IGP. Again, what is happening since the announcement of the new IGP within the police service? There are those who interpret that to mean that perhaps Christian Tete Yohonu, the IGP, would only bring back what used to be the status quo, the service that many people didn't like, the service that perhaps Dampare tried to change, which has courted him, the wrath, the anger of personnel of the police service. I want you to analyze what the future holds for the IGP. What could he do for this country?
Okay, so you are not wrong and the truth, that is the truth you put out there. When I was working with the BNN, I worked under a man called Wafaya, who many people do not know. He was one of the disciplinaries we've always seen. We have seen there was another man, he was a lawyer, others came in and others left. They received a lot of criticism. What we are seeing after them was a mess, because people don't want to be disciplined. And people are getting involved in all manner of things, and they are looking for political parties to cover them up. No wonder we are where we are, that law enforcement agencies cannot produce the best brains this country is looking for, and they cannot live to expectation when you hand over state assets into their hands. I will not be surprised that from the attitude we are seeing, the system will degrade back to where it was. You cannot take away the disciplined nature of Dampare. You cannot take away the leadership Dampare brought that is so accessible to the people. And it's also important to know that Yohonu has the same leadership style, where he wants to lead from the front, where he's accessible to the people, and where he wants everybody to be happy. What will be different is that he's a new man with a new strategy, and he needs to form the lines and form the team.
But that's the thing, Richard, because we're going to have to. We're going to have to toe a very thin line between discrediting how the police personnel or members of the police service felt while Dampare was the IGP, and also crediting Dampare for his administrative efforts in running the police service. And I feel like you're blurring the lines a little bit.
No, what I'm saying is that he made some good decisions and he made some bad ones. And it's common with every leadership. So take him on the ones he gets it wrong. But don't demonize him for everything. That's the point I'm making. He made some transfers that, looking back, you could see that they were wrong. Issues of promotion was a cardinal sin against Dampare, where he was taken to court. For the first time in a very long time, no IGP went through that. Then he set up this anti-robbery unit and intelligence police department, where there were criticisms about some killings and some decisions that, you know, became an albatross on the head of Dampare.
Right.
But then again, he did some other good things. I am thinking that if Yowano will want to set up the structure, then some of the people Dampare took out for no reason, he will need to bring them. The likes of Akiluk and the likes of Raymond Adofin and the likes of Asowoku. These are great guys who will handle your operations and you wouldn't have problems. For some reason, Dampare got it wrong at that place and he took them out. So the point I'm making is that when it comes to police accessibility, leadership, security leadership, Yohono has the same thing. He's even overqualified. Dampare did the same thing. If you ask me what is expected of Yohono, I think he should look at what the president told him. Put up a professional show. Don't be looking back too much. Go for it. And where there are mistakes, you bear them. You bear the consequences. Put up a professional police service that would deliver to meet the 21st century demands of a professional police unit. Other than that, I think our law enforcement officers are becoming lawless unto themselves.
I see. Thank you so much, Richard, for talking to us. Richard Kumado is a security analyst who's been just commenting on the video circulating all over social media. Video we have shown you about how the police are practically falling over themselves as they say goodbye to IGP former IGP Dr. George Ekufu Dampare and welcoming the new IGP Christian Tete Yohuno. We'll move away from this because I've got something else for you. Bring us the vice president, says the minority. The why and how is what we're about to get into right now. Tonight, the minority in Parliament is throwing a challenge to the majority, asking the government side to bring the Vice President, Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, to the House next Tuesday. Her mission there, according to the request, will be to join the floor debate on the 2025 budget. Now, the minority's request is based on Article 111 of the 1992 Constitution, which permits and accords parliamentary privileges not only to the Vice President, but ministers and deputy ministers who are not MPs. Now, those privileges do not include the right to vote or hold a parliamentary office, but of course, they could be part of the discussions and debates on the floor. But that's the basis for the minority request. Here's Okankwe's Central MP, Patrick Yabuama, explaining the why.
Looking at the chamber, it's very important that next week, Tuesday, the debate commences in earnest. And not raising quorum. Now, we know you will not succeed. Mr. Speaker, let me refer you to the time allotment for the budget debate on paragraph 3. And I'm reading that in conjunction with Article 111 of the Constitution. I don't know if you have yours with you. With your kind permission, I'll quote Article 111 of the Constitution. The Vice President or a member or a minister or a deputy minister who is not a member of Parliament shall be entitled to participate in the proceedings of Parliament and shall be accorded all the privileges of a member of Parliament except that he is not entitled to vote or to hold an office in Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I realized that a business committee has made allocation for ministers of state, leaving out it will be very, very important to see her in action on the floor, debate the president's economic and financial policy. especially having been a former Minister for Education. It will be very important for her to be here to articulate the policy decision of His Excellency President Mahama. Mr. Speaker, so I want the Business Committee to amend this and have a time allotment for Her Excellency the Vice President, Professor Jenna Anopo-Kwajima, to be here and debate the President's budget, since she's the first female Vice President of this country to come and participate.
Well, he can want, but will that want be met by the majority side? Bolgatanga Central MP Isaac Adungo holds a different opinion.
2 days ago, they were sitting on this side of the house. A few weeks ago, you were sitting here, and you were programming business committee meetings. Did you program the Vice President then to appear in this house, or he was not entitled? Or you assume that he was not appearing here and nodding of his head constituted participation? Unfortunately, the Vice President has very busy things to do. She doesn't want to come and be nodding her head. But if you say she has been very quiet, we cannot force you to listen to her. But yesterday, I listened to her, and many other Ghanaians listened to her. But you can refuse not to hear. If you, in the chamber, at the appropriate time, she needs to be here, she will be here. But we are taking a cue from His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. She never appeared here. He only appeared here to nod the head. We never heard him in the Hansard. We have never heard him in the Hansard. And the Hansard does not capture nodding of head. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That's how that went down in Parliament today. Let's have a quick chat on the back of this. Professor David Abdullahi is Senior Governance Advisor at the Africa Parliamentary Network. Prof, I appreciate you talking to us. You've listened to the debate on both sides. What do you make of this minority call?
Well, first, Article 111 talks about not just the Vice President, but also ministers. So I think their call is on, but the reason why I'm wondering why they are calling now, because during the eighth Parliament, for 8 years that the previous government has been in place, I didn't see them call the Vice President to come to Parliament for these kind of debates. So I'm wondering what is pushing them now that they are in minority to call for that. I think, we should be very serious in this country. If we want our democracy to move forward, there should be a track record. If that was done in that particular 8th Parliament and the Vice President did come, there should be no reason why in this particular situation the Vice President should not come. But other people would say, well, is it not political? Why are you calling now that you're in the minority that this current Vice President should come?
I mean, it's the same reasons, and again, the part about whether or not then Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia also was in Parliament to join the debate. It is the same reason the Bolgatanga Central MP raises. But I want to come back to the Article 111, which the Okankwe Central MP also raised, and we've read what the Constitution beholds in Article 111 already. So should the VIF come at all?
So, Keminni, have you seen the former Vice President come to Parliament for all those 8 years? And I'm saying there should be consistency in our growing democracy. When you do something, it should be continuous. But when you are now in the minority and you are asking for that, most people will look at it as political, and that is what really is the challenge in this country. We must be consistent and follow the laws. But here the laws are there, but in most cases we don't follow them. So I'm saying, to be a devil's advocate, most people maybe on the other side of the divide would argue that why didn't they call the former vice president, who was the head of the economic management team and so on and so forth, to come to Parliament when they were doing those kind of debates?
I mean, maybe it wasn't done before, Prof. And hear me out. Traditionally, the vice president has been in charge of the EMT whenever it existed, or most times when it existed. What would be so wrong if this request is granted by the majority side?
I don't have any problem with that. But for 8 years, you had 8 years, and you had a vice president in around. You never even at one particular budget reading or one particular debate invited him. Why? So that is the issue. Now you are in the minority. Of course, the majority would argue against that. And I think my solace is that now that they are reviewing the Constitution, they should make it in such a way that either the ministers and the vice president should appear, if they are not very busy in their schedules, to be part of this. And then, we can start seeing that these are ways we can begin to change some things that are not right. But
well, Prof, I was thinking you were going to ask the CRC to completely repeal that. What good does that add to the national economic growth at all?
No, I said should, not must. There's a difference between asking somebody to must be there and should be there. And that is if they are not busy. It is a goodwill, and it is going to be good for our leadership to set examples. Now, in my opinion, I don't think it is going to serve any particular importance, unless maybe you just want the person to be there to satisfy Article 111. And that is not the way for a country to grow. The person is coming with specific knowledge or specific contribution, or they have done something specific that would actually inure the person to be there and to be heard. But you are just compelling the person to be there because, then it is going to make sure that the whole exercise is not effective. That is what I was aiming at. But I think, if the vice president wants to come, if they are not very busy, they should come. It can just add to it, but it's not something that is bring about growth. I mean, growth in an economy has to do with how you really tackle the fundamentals of the economy. We have, a primary economy whereby most of our industrialized sector is very small. And as you know, if we have a very good industrial base and we have a good service base, especially in the information and technology, then these are going to be pillars that will help us to grow. That I understand. But if it is going to be politics, it's not going to help us in any way.
Well, two things we'll look out for now, Prof. The CRC on Article 111 and March 18th, that's next Tuesday, whether or not this matter will become major in Parliament. But Prof, thank you for talking to us. Always a pleasure. Professor David Abdullahi is with the Africa Parliamentary Network. He's senior advisor there. Still to come here. New couple for the prison service. An interior minister worried about the state of Ghana's prisons. We'll connect the dots when we come back. Don't go away. This is Ghana Tonight.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kelkit Toothpaste. Wow. I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger. Chicky, chicky. Whiter. Chicky, chicky. Stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kel Kids. Happy smile.
One thing I hate in my life is heat, or to sweat whilst I am asleep. That is why I don't joke with my air conditioners. Not just any air conditioner, but Franco air conditioners. It's good for the Ghanaian weather, and they are filled with R410 gas, which is very friendly to human beings, which is not harmful to human health. We have 1.5, 2.0, and 2.5 horsepower. So what are you waiting for? Walk into any Franco branch now and grab for yourself quality, affordable, and energy efficient air conditioner from Franco. Visit www.francotrading.com or call any of the numbers on your screen for enquiries or wholesale. Franco air conditioners, they are reliable, tried, and tested by all. Franco, home of quality and affordable air conditioners.
Why are more and more professionals choosing Flamingo paint?
Flamingo paint has great hiding ability to cover and transform old walls easily with just one coat.
With just small paints, I think huge area, meaning more profit for me. Great value for money.
Guarantees durability for all my buildings.
Flamingo paint, superior hiding, superior coverage, superior durability. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Step up with DSTV and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment.
Going to have a little fun.
Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us.
Buckle up, here we go.
There's nothing better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out.
Time to boost some office morale. Incredible!
When you want to build a future, you gotta know what you want.
Step up and we'll show up on your home of entertainment, DSTV.
Mommy.
Michelle say,
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste, Sankofa.
Yenchi, Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Looking for a seamless shopping experience? Welcome to Franco, where everything you need is just a click away. Shop the hottest deals and unlock amazing discounts on our products such as mobile phones, refrigerators, washing machines, Franco air conditioners from 1.5 horsepower to 2.5 horsepower, Franco television from 32 inches to 100 inches, CCTV cameras, laptops, and many more. Download our easy-to-use mobile app. Visit our website at www.francotrading.com. Call the numbers on the screen for any assistance and enquiries. Franco, home of quality mobile phones, accessories, and your home appliances.
Welcome back. You're still live here on Ghana Tonight. Here on TV3, I'm Keminni Amanor. Tonight, a shocking revelation, at least for those hearing this for the very first time. The Interior Minister, Muntaka Mubarak, says Ghana's prisons have become hotspots for drug trafficking, a situation he says undermines efforts to combat narcotic use and sale. The minister is seeking help from Christian and Muslim leaders in Accra to help deal with it.
Control Commission is also under the Ministry of Interior. And we are seeing rising trade in drugs in our borders. And it's alarming, and the quantity sometimes is very scary. In the last 1 month, the number of bustings that we've done, and because some of them are still in court and this, I will not be able to give fine details, are alarming. What do we do as men and women of God to curb this? As Christian leaders, your role in promoting peace and social cohesion is crucial. I urge you to continue preaching love, forgiveness, and hope to your congregations. I also encourage you to work with us to address the root cause of drug abuse and support initiatives providing treatment and rehabilitation services to those affected. We can build a safer, healthier, and more secured environment for all our citizens.
I apologize for earlier, but just gone by is the Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak. Let's have a quick chat on this matter. Ibrahim Oponkwating is founder of Crime Check Foundation. Ibrahim, thank you so much for talking to us. Is the minister's revelation a true reflection of our prisons?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think I would say this is no news. The media has done a lot of work in that regard. Crime Check Foundation continues to throw a spotlight on some of the happenings in the prison. It would interest you to note that all the 47 prisons that we have in Ghana, in all the prisons, there isn't a single scanner in any of the countries present. And as a country that prides ourselves as a beacon of a democracy, champion of human rights, that is committed to the reformation and rehabilitation of prisoners, this is unfortunate. So you see the persistent carrying of contrabands in our prison. So let me give you a typical example. Someone smokes a joint of weed. Then the person is given, let's say 3 years, 4 years. So what is the objective of imprisoning the person? It is for the person to get in there, engage in rehabilitation and reintegration programs, and come out as a better person. This person goes into the prison and realizes that the prison is rather a beehive of drugs. So what is the purpose in such a situation? You send someone to prison with the intention of reforming the person. The person realizes that he goes in there, and then the weed is everywhere. This is completely unacceptable, as it defeats the purpose of reformation and rehabilitation. So it is important that government take a giant step. This shouldn't be another political talk, because successive governments appear to have failed in their commitment to the reformation and rehabilitation of the prisons because of the perception that it's a place for abandoned individuals, it's a place for criminals. Till we change that perception and then implement policies aimed at making our prisons purely correctional institutions.
I see. Ibrahim, how will this work in a prison guarded by wardens? And I'm asking, how will this work in terms of how does a prison become a den for drug trafficking?
Right. So just as I indicated, there isn't a single scanner in any of the country's prisons. So what then will be the function of the prison officers? They can easily be compromised. That is the point. In modern prison administration, you expect security to be a priority. Unfortunately, you don't have a single scanner in any of the countries. So assuming petty offenders are sent out work, they go with officers. And I'm sure you are aware that there have been lots of instances where some of these officers, you can vouch for them, connive with prisoners to bring all sorts of contrabands in our prison, because there isn't any modern mechanism for tracking drugs that come into the prison. So the only better way is to have scanners in the 21st century. Visit prisons in Europe. There are scanners. So that easily detects any contraband entering the prison. So in the absence of contraband, there are lots of hiding spots where prisoners and officers can smuggle drugs into the prison. Now, there are times when you enter a prison, you realize that pictures of prison officers have been posted all around. Prison officers who have been convicted for drug-related offenses. So the point I'm making is that there should be total commitment to seal all holes in security. Unfortunately, the prisons lack that capacity. They don't have it. We can go on and on to feeding fee for prisoners, 1 cedi 80 pesos. This is completely unacceptable. So if we cannot feed our prisoners, then we will continue to warehouse them. How can we buy scanners? So you appear to see that lack of commitment on the part of successive governments. So I'm happy to hear from the Interior Minister that the trend could change. And we hope and pray that there will be a paradigm shift.
Indeed, Ibrahim. Ibrahim, the minister also talks about congestion, and I want us to take a listen to him briefly, and then I'll have you comment on, whether or not we've seen improvement over the years, and perhaps what the current government can do about congestion there. Let's take a listen to the Interior Minister.
We have a prison population of about 14,000. As at the day for yesterday, when we were taking the brief, we had about 13,997 prisoners in our midst. Out of that, we have about 900 who are foreigners. And the congestion in our prisons is so much concern to all of us. You go to some of our prisons and you wonder whether we send them there to harden them or we really send them there to reform them. We feed them since 2013 with 1 Ghana cedi 80 pesos for 3 meals. And I asked during my vetting, how many of us feed our pets in the house with even 1 Ghana cedi 80 pesos? You go to our prison today, one of the major challenges we have is even tuberculosis because of the congestion. And we have to isolate. Some few weeks, we had to isolate a number of prisoners. Thank God, with some intensity in the last 2 weeks, we were able to reduce the number of those in isolation. Now we have only 3 that are still in isolation, that we are doing everything possible to rescue them so that they do not spread the tuberculosis in our prisons. Yet, we have a lot of resources that we can all put our heads together to help even our prisons.
Let's break the numbers down for you. We have a total number of the total prison population standing at 13,991. Authorized prison capacity as of now is 10,265. Overcrowded by 3,726 inmates, and the overcrowding rate in this country is 36.3%. The convict prisoners or people incarcerated, 89.61% of total inmates, and those on remand, 7.15%. Trial prisoners also 3.24%. So obviously, we still have a very high number of people who are on remand or are still going through trials in our prisons. Now, the male to female ratio is 61:1. So for every 69 males in our prisons, we have 1 female to account for those 69. The male to female on remand is just about the same, 70:1 as well. So for every 70 males, there is 1 female on remand. 34:1 will be the ratio for the male to female trial ratio. And it follows the same logic that as of February 2025, for every 34 males in our prisons right now, there is one female who is also in prison on trial. Let's get the conversation on. Ibrahim, so we've heard the minister, we've also seen the congestion statistics. Has this improved over the years?
Well, I would say there's been some sort of improvement over the years. But then when we talk of congestion, we should also talk about crime numbers. What is the situation like? There are certain years that the crime rate shoots up. In such situations, you expect lots of inmates in there contributing to congestion. But the bottom line is that as a country, we should have our priorities right. Most of the prisons we have are relics of the British colonial administration. If you look at Tamale prison, Yendi, and so on and so forth, some were meant as horses' stable. They weren't meant, they weren't established as prisons. But these are facilities we are still using. Now, apart from Nsawam, perhaps Kitikrashe, or about 4 prisons or so, governments haven't added on. So this makes it difficult. There would therefore continue to be congestion in our country's prisons unless there is that commitment I keep talking about on the part of government to expand prison infrastructure. What was our population 10 years ago and what is our population now? So as population increases, the crime rate increases. Because of the ECOWAS protocol on free movement of the, persons and so on and so forth, there is also an influx of foreigners. As we speak in our country's prisons, as we speak, the foreign prison population is almost over 1,000. ECOWAS nationals make up about 800 to 900 prisoners in our prisons. So with the crime rate exploding, we have no choice than to make a conscious effort to expand prisons infrastructure. So there are a lot of dynamics. It is not only about our population explosion or the part of Ghana. It is also about the sub-region.
I see. But Ibrahim, given your experience and influence in prison rights advocacy, what other issues have been overlooked for such a long time that you expect? And for our viewers home, this is where the new couple for the prison service comes in. Ibrahim, what do you expect her to do as she takes office?
Yes, it's a lot. And I don't even know where to start from. A lot been overlooked. Let's look at the condition of prison officers, for instance, the motivation to work is completely non-existent. Look at housing for prison officers. They live in cubicles. How do you expect them? How do you expect them to give up their best? This is something that we need to, the government needs to do something about it as soon as possible. But one thing that remains a priority is the non-custodial bill, which continue to lie on the shelves of Parliament. The Interior Minister is a seasoned parliamentarian. He's aware of the bill. So what is preventing government? What is stopping them from passing this bill into law? If this bill is passed into law, it could be the major changer for prison reformation and rehabilitation. Just imagine, these people make mistakes, we all make mistakes, and then they've been put into industry, contributing to socio-economic development, instead of sending them to jail. So, I am pleading with government to make the passage of the non-custodial sentencing bill into law a priority. Also ensure that the conditions of prison officers improve the working conditions is so important. And also to invest a lot in prison agriculture. Look at Ewutu prison. There is a huge dam. If they decide to grow vegetables, they could grow vegetables all year round. Supply the whole of Accra. They don't have combined harvesters. They don't have tractors. They don't have the machinery. Most of our prisons have that capacity, agricultural capacity. Singapore and other places are doing it. We can even do it better. So it's important that government, just as I said, there should be a round table. There are a lot of people who understand prison administration, the context, what has changed, and what needs to be done. It shouldn't be the usual lip service. This is what we continue to do as a nation. We come, we make statements, and then that's all. I remember in 2016, when we paid a visit with President Mahama, 2015, 2016, thereabout. There was something that I saw. And also at times too, I think at times unnecessary passion by prison administrators to satisfy the whims and caprices of politicians. The prison was cleaned up because the president was coming. That is not the best. We should always present the problem the way it is. So I hope the new Director General, newly appointed Director General, Madam Bafuboni, she's experienced. She doesn't have to please the government. She should be straightforward. She should be blunt. Let government understand the nuances of prison administration.
Very well. Very well. Ibrahim, we're out of time. We'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. I'm sure Madam Bafuboni is listening. DDGI. Bafuboni, so to speak. Thank you so much, Ibrahim, and thank you for all the work that you do in our prisons for all the incarcerated people and for this country. Before we go, a look at what you can expect on key points tomorrow at 7 a.m. If you're thinking it's going to be great, yes, indeed, it will be great as always. Look at the lineup. Felix Kwachiofosu, Minister of State in charge of government communication. There's Senyo Hosi in there. There's lawyer Martin Pebu in there. There's also Franklin Kujo in there. The topics, as you well know, the 2025 budget. The question is whether it's hopeful or hopeless. There'll also be discussions around the new IGP, the legacy of George Ekufu Dampare, the outgone IGP, and the suit Imani has in the Supreme Court against the firing of security heads in this country, which they say is unconstitutional. They're seeking interpretation at the Supreme Court. So there you have it, your lineup for 7 a.m. tomorrow on Key Points here on TV3. Listen, I'm 4 minutes over time and I want to go right now. So last thing to say, join me at 2 p.m. on Sunday for Hot Issues. I'll see you then. But for now, have a pleasant weekend. Bye-bye.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Kel Charcoal Toothpaste.
La 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 la.